Mating patterns. Yes, it's a very interesting concept, right? You must have learned many mating patterns until now, but it rarely happens that you get to checkmate your opponent on the board. And one of those mating patterns, which is my favorite, is Smothered Checkmate. We all know this thing that in Smothered Checkmate, we get to checkmate our opponent with just the knight, which means the king, your opponent's king is surrounded by his own pieces and pawns. He doesn't have any room to go around, and your knight comes into the center, you can say, or towards the king, and he's just checkmated. Amazing checkmate, right? So the game which we are going to see today, Capablanca versus Matisons, demonstrates this checkmating pattern in the end. Capablanca plays in a very nice style in the middle game. He activates his pieces, and in the end, when there are many complications happens, his opponent's pieces are inactive on the queen side, he manages to checkmate his opponent on the king side. So guys, let's start with this game and understand how all these things happened. Okay, and if you don't know about the Smothered Checkmate, then definitely this video will help you to understand the Smothered Checkmate. So let's start. Capablanca was white in this game. He played d4. His opponent Matisons played knight to f6, c4, e6, knight c3, and then bishop to b4. This is the Nimzo Indian Opening, guys. Okay, means Nimzo which was there, who started out this opening, you can say, or made lots of contribution to the opening. That's why the name of this opening is Nimzo Indian. So queen to c2, very good option, supporting the knight on c3. Here black plays c5, then white captures on c5. Here obviously bishop into c5 will be one of the options, but black decided to develop a knight here with knight c6. If you play bishop into c5, knight f3 and castle, and maybe e3 or even g3, or maybe bishop g5, all these options are there. This is just a normal opening, guys. Okay, so knight c6 was played, then white develops a piece, then he captures, and now, as I was talking about, bishop can be developed here or here. Here Capablanca decides to develop it on f4 to get some control on the d6 square. One thing I want to tell you, that this bishop is going to play a big role in the game, because it will be controlling the b8 square. Now you will not understand, but if you stay tuned with me till the end, then you will understand. Okay, so bishop f4. He doesn't want to just sit tight there, black, so he gets the pawn in the center with d5 move. Now e3, simple. Now he wants to develop the bishop, and he is prepared for, if dc4 happens, then bishop will capture on c4. His bishop will come out, and then he is going to castle. Okay, so black plays queen a5, pinning this knight. Okay, fine. So bishop e2, obviously the bishop e2 is played in order to castle on the next move, and maybe, you never know, this bishop might be doing something on this diagonal also. Okay, so black puts more pressure. He plays bishop b4. Well, personally speaking, I really don't like this move, because you're playing the same piece again and again. That's what you need to avoid, guys. Okay, here I would have preferred to play something like castles, or even bishop d7 is something which I will prefer, because I am developing a piece, I'm safeguarding my king. That's what you should do. But here black decides to play bishop b4. See guys, this bishop has been played 3 times. First he played bishop b4 in the opening, then he played bishop c5, capturing the pawn. Again he plays bishop b4. So he is wasting a little bit more time. And in the opening, we know this thing that we need to develop as quickly as possible. We need to control the center. Okay, this guy has controlled the center, but what about the development? It's not being developed that much fast. Okay, so here white just develops the piece, you can say. The rook comes in the game. He castles in this position. The king is safe. Black captures on c3, b captures c3. Again he played the bishop. Okay and now finally he castles. But doing all these things, he has forgotten about the bishop on c8. And you can see black's pawns are actually on light square, and he has exchanged his dark square bishop. And we know this thing with the color strategy, that if you have your pawns on the light square, it makes more sense to keep your dark square bishop on the board. And he is having the light square bishop on the board, so that bishop is little bit more restricted. Okay, so guys, we'll be continuing with the game, but I want to tell you, like, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Okay, so we'll continue. Here Capablanca develops the rook on this file. Simple move. Now this bishop is discouraged to go to d7 square, because the pawn on b7 will be hanging in that case. Black's thinks like, okay, what to do in this position? He cannot play bishop d7 because of obvious move, rook into b7. He cannot play b6 to develop. In that case, the queen's path to go back will be blocked. Okay, and that's why in order to get the queen in the game, he plays queen a3. The idea is quite clear that he wants to play queen e7 at some point, support this, and maybe start pushing in the center of the board. Okay, fair enough. So white, Miss Capablanca, knows that he just keeps on developing the pieces, so he plays rook fd1. Simple move. Now these pieces are developed. This bishop is aiming towards this diagonal, the other bishop is aiming towards this diagonal, the b8 square is also controlled, so the move like rook b8 followed by bishop d7 is not possible in the game. Okay, so finally he plays b6 because he needs to do something with his bishop on c8. And now here Capablanca captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and now it's time to go for the king side. So because this piece was supporting the king side, and we know this thing that the 3 pawns and the knight are very important in order to safeguard your king on the king side, means the castle side. Okay, so knight jumps on g5, attacking the pawn on h7, and here if you play g6, this kind of a move, obviously you are creating some weaknesses over here. Okay, that is one thing you need to understand. And obviously h6 is not there because queen h7 checkmate is there, so he plays f5. But playing f5 also, okay, it blocks this diagonal, but it also weakens something in black's camp. Okay, so here in order to take advantage of all these things, he puts the bishop on f3. Now this bishop is completely dominating on this diagonal. The other bishop was already there, the rook was there, and this knight is also under attack because the threat of knight into e6, bishop into e6 followed by bishop into d5 is there on the board. So here he plays queen c5, supporting the knight on d5. Still that this diagonal is kind of very weak, means the black is in trouble. So here white plays c4, attacking the knight. Okay, so knight needs to go somewhere, so he plays knight d b4. Actually he should have captured knight into f4, that was better alternative, I'll say. And okay, if you capture here, that is okay. And there is also one thing that you can play, that rook can also jump to b5 square, which I will prefer in this position. Okay, so now what is really happening after this move? The threat is like bishop d6 on the board. Okay, and okay, now the queen is being attacked, so we need to play queen to b3. Okay, so after queen b3, okay, let's suppose you play bishop d6 earlier, then knight into c2. If you capture bishop into c5, b into c5, you will lose a piece, so you should not go for this. Okay, bishop into c6, this is also possible. Okay, fine, this was also possible thing, but okay, he did not go for that thing. Queen b3 was played, attacking here. The simple idea is to play a3 as well as bishop d6, and you will be winning the exchange in that case. So black shuts down the bishop's diagonal, plays e5. Now Capablanca plays a3, attacking the knight. The knight goes behind. Okay, you can capture here, but I will say, like, if you capture here, then black will be in big trouble because he cannot hold on to the knight on c6. He needs to move his queen somewhere, and then he will lose the knight on c6. So that's also not a good news. Okay, so he plays knight a6. After knight a6, he simply captures on c6, queen captures on c6, and now he plays the move c5. Okay. Now you can understand the pieces are there on the queen side. Okay, the knight did not do anything. The bishop is still yet to come in the game. Okay, and if you play something like bishop e6, which is a possible move, but white will just capture knight into e6, and if you capture here, then after knight d4, the queen will be lost, because this is the discard check which will be happening. And guys, discard check is very dangerous. And now, okay, he plays king to h8, and now here comes our threat of the smothered checkmate. Okay, this part is very important here. Now white plays knight f7 check. Any wise person, okay, will understand that there might be a checkmate which will be happening in the future. So that's why black is actually forced to capture rook into f7, queen into f7, and maybe this position he might go on. But you can see that he is actually very weak on the back rank, and this will also not really help him. Let's suppose he plays h6. Okay, then we have this rook d8 move, one of the moves which I think it's possible. King will be going to this square, and then we can capture bishop into e5. The pawn on g7 is weak, and okay, this is a possibility, but I will still prefer this position from the white side, and he should be completely winning in this case. Okay, no doubts about this thing. And okay, here even if you capture e into f4, obviously the back rank checkmate problem is there, so he did not do that thing. And after knight to f7, king g8, here comes the discovered check as well as the double check. This is the trick of the smothered checkmate, guys. In smothered checkmate, the double check always happens. The knight is also giving the check, the queen is also giving the check. Black doesn't have any time to capture the knight. He must move his king here, And in whenever the double check happens, always remember this thing, that you have to move your king. So king has only one square, and now if you again give this check, king will be coming here. But if you pay attention to one thing, that the pawns are there, the king is restricted. If there is any more piece on g8 square, then the knight f7 will be a check and mate. And to achieve that thing, white sacrifices the queen with queen g8 check. And this is what smothered checkmate is going to be. Here rook into g8 is forced, and the knight lands on f7 square. The king is completely cornered, surrounded by his own rook and the pawns, and it is a check and mate. So guys, this is such a beautiful checkmate. In this case, black's pieces are just being like the spectators. They cannot do anything. The only knight is giving the check and mate. So that's why I love this checkmating pattern, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends also, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay, we'll be meeting very soon with new video. Till that moment, take care, goodbye, and love you all.